Okay, so now we're going to go through with our list which schools are really reach schools versus being out of reach, or really match schools versus being a reach school. So again, we have our student with a 3.24 GPA and ACT score of an 18. And let's start with the reach schools. So the reach schools are in the highly competitive bracket. And I'm going to introduce a few different tools to help us decide if these schools are really within the student's reach or if they're out of reach. So let's focus on a few schools. We'll look at U of M. We'll look at Knox College in Illinois, and we'll look at Grinnell College in Iowa. All right, so to start with Knox, let's look at the first tool you should always take a look at is this one, fairtest.org. This shows the testing policies for the schools. So we'll do a search for Knox, and we'll see how much ACT matters. So if ACT is not as important, then the student will likely have a better shot of getting in because the student has an 18 ACT, which is a little bit low. So Knox College is on here. So Knox College is test optional. Sometimes what you can do is then go to the Knox or the college website and look up their testing policy. So here is Knox College, and this is their testing policy. And down here you can see they have a note about test scores, where it says the submission is optional for most applicants. There's no score above which you need to decide to submit your scores. So basically they say if you don't believe that test scores show your ability as a student, you don't have to submit them. Okay, so for Knox, you'd likely have to send in some sort of a portfolio of work. But really the main thing they'd be judged on in addition to the portfolio is the student's GPA. So let's take a look at that. The one place you can look at is this one, collegeresults.org, right here, collegeresults.org. And I've already done a search here for Knox College. Just search for Knox College and then go down to GPA. This is their average GPA is 3.35. So a student with a 3.24 would definitely be in the wheelhouse. And as you can see again, great graduation rates at Knox. And then we can go to, if we wanted more assurances, go to CAPEX. So CAPEX.org is a admissions tool, and here, and I just recommend everyone get an account to CAPEX.com, and then do a search for Knox. It's already up there, but I'll show you where the search tool is. So there's Knox College. Click on Knox, and then you can click on admissions here. And then, under admissions, it has this cool thing, this cool scattergram. So as you can see here, we have the Knox College admissions scattergram, and all these dots represent students who are either admitted or denied. And so I usually click off these two, though accepted, won't attend, or that one, I'll click that off. And then you can see the red is denied, the green is accepted, and the yellow is waitlisted. And as you can see here, our student with a 3.24 and an 18, again, not test admissions, but we could just say a 3.24. It looks like, as you can see, there's a couple green dots here and a couple of the yellow ones. Looks like this student, this would be a good reach school for the student. Maybe be close to a match, but we'll call it a reach for now. We'll call it a reach for now. Okay, so Knox would pretty much assuredly be in the reach category. That one works. But how about Grinnell? So let's check Grinnell. All right, let's go to Fairtest first and see what Grinnell's testing policies are. And Grinnell, I just did a search, is not on here. So it looks like Grinnell requires you to do to send an ACT. So let's check their scores. So the first one I'll check is college results. And do a search here for Grinnell. There it is. And we'll go down. Looks like their GPAs aren't published, but the ACT looks like the average is a 30, and the middle 50% is 28 to 32. So this student would be severely handicapped with an 18, so Grinnell might be sort of out of reach. But we can check the CAPEX to see what, to get a little bit of a clearer picture. So look at Grinnell. And click on admissions. And have a look here, a lot more red dots here. And I'll click off the accepted one, attend one. But as you can see, in this range of the sort of 3.24 and 18, no green dots, and surrounded by red dots. So it doesn't look like, so Grinnell might be sort of out of reach. So it looks like there might be no chance of getting admitted to Grinnell. Let's do one final check. So we might not want to include Grinnell on the list for this student, but now let's look at University of Michigan. And U of M, as most big state schools, they all require tests, SAT or ACT, to be sent in. But let's check their admission scatter plot. So here's Michigan. And we'll check their admissions. And here we get a lot, pretty good data set here from a lot of students. But if we click off the blue here, and we go to our student here with a 3.2 and 18, so right here. So again, this one not a great chance. There's some green though. There's some green, so we could get in. A good amount of red as well. But maybe we could leave this as a reach school. So we could leave U of M as a reach school. We could leave U of M as a reach school. We could go with Knox, and then we could recommend the student. If you did a search for, for Beloit or Hope or Kalamazoo, go through that same process, and then recommend one other school to that student that would still work for a reach school. So those are the kind of tools you can use to decide if it really is a reach, match, or safety. First, check the testing policy. You can check their averages on College Results online, collegeresults.org, and then you can get a clearer picture at capex.com.